Live from the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Todd Allbaugh, along with our producer and engineer, Mr. Aaron Zommers, on the board. It is 6 past the hour of 12 noon on this Tuesday, the 25th of March, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite. Glad to have...
Oh, wait. Oh, it's not Wednesday. Sorry, I got confused because I saw Pat.
There's a lot of confusion going on today. I'll be honest about that. But it's great to have you along. Zommers, it's great to be back here in Madison in the studios with you. Had a great 3 days out in beautiful Southwest Wisconsin. Many thanks to Phil Nee, the general manager of WRCE, WRCO, for letting us hang out there. And our great engineering team and all the great people here have kind of reorganized, rewired the home studios here. We have a desk now, which means I'm going to really have to exercise because I always stood for 2 hours during the show. I can't stand. I have a beautiful seat now, a beautiful chair. But here we are back at the home studios, and the reason you heard the camel peeked his head out is because he normally joins us every Wednesday on Hump Day at this time. The one, the only Pat Kreitlow joins us, host of Up North News Radio from 6 until 8 from Lake Wissota. Pat, I understand now you've had it with Trigby's jokes about your age, and so you said, I'm out of here. I'm not doing the show with him anymore.
I don't know if I'm complimented or upset that Zommers stole my fire, because I was going to answer your question with Hump Day, and he's right there. He's right there. He's so fast. Yes. And it has nothing to do with old man Trigby. It has everything to do with, working for the man, or in this case, Courier Newsroom. Like many places, Courier Newsroom has meetings. And then when they get tired of doing those meetings, they come up with new meetings. And in fact, for a time, we had a policy of no meeting Wednesdays so that people could actually get work done instead of just meeting. But too many people were taking advantage of it and having little side meetings. So now there's just meetings willy-nilly. And the latest one has taken our former Thursday noon meeting and made it Wednesday noon. So now my Wednesday noon hours are tied up with a meeting that I like to refer to as show and tell, because it's really not so much about learning things as people going, look at this, look at this, look at this.
Pat, something tells me you're not a fan of this development.
I love Courier Newsroom, and the Courier Newsroom people love me. But they also know that, they've got a bit of a curmudgeon on their hands when I sense that some meetings could have been an email, or I don't know, a group text if the Secretary of Defense wouldn't mind, doing that instead of having the meeting. So a Wednesday meeting has now pushed me over here to Tuesday. So, if old man Trigby doesn't mind, I'll be over here and he can come say hi whenever his meeting schedule allows.
The last 3 minutes tells you everything you need to know why I love and admire Pat Kreitlow. because we're on the same wavelength on that, my friend.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, we love what we do, but we're now at an age where it's like, if we see something, the bosses are doing, I'm like, we might have a little fun at their expense. And let me give you another example. I'm now at an age where I've told certain people, since I'm a couple of years away from retirement now, I'm like, you need to know, I no longer put in vacation requests. I put in vacation notifications. And and I recall the person who's no longer with the company, not for that reason, but saying, I get it and I hate you for it. And I'm going to grumble every time you're gone. But clearly there's nothing I can do about it. And I said, thank you. We understand each other. I don't abuse the privilege, but I'm going to take a little bit more time than you would like to give me. And it's still, I think, a win-win for both parties.
Absolutely. And I admire you because I have not reached that level of my career yet.
No, I mean, look, it took a long time. I got walked on a lot by where I was just being too nice, bending over backwards too many times. And you just finally reach a point where you go, nah, I don't want to do that anymore. So for those folks who aren't there yet, take heart. When it arrives, it's a really nice feeling, especially if you love what you're doing and if you respect your employer. But you're just like, no, we're going to do things a little bit different here, and I'm one of the lucky ones. It works, as long as I keep doing a good job, and they don't try to box me in. We understand each other, and that's a good thing.
Well, it is always great to have you along, Pat. I appreciate you accommodating us here, our little dog and pony show now on Tuesdays. And Trigby tells me that he is going to occasionally pop in and this is serious now. I'm not joking around. As Joe Biden. Every time I say that now, I hear Joe Biden. I'm not joking around.
I'm not joking around.
He goes, well, I'm going to miss my banter with Pat. Like, I have a lot of fun with that. I said, well, stop.
And I'm sorry. No, I will. I honestly will miss it too. And if he wanted to come on Tuesdays, and if you would let him, it would be great to have him there. Though I don't know how this whole show is going to work now with you sitting on your keister. You're not going to have nearly the energy. So I'm hoping that they will get you like one of those desks that is optional where you can raise it up or lower it down.
Zomers has that. Zomers has an electronic desk.
I still sit most of the time anyway because I don't have a good reason.
Oh yeah, but Todd over here saying, "Oh, I'm going to have to exercise now." Yeah, like those couple of hours of standing made you an athlete.
Well, no, it didn't make me, but I felt like I was doing.
You felt like you're getting something done.
Right.
Those washboard abs, they just show up by standing here for 2 hours a day yapping. Sure. I know, right?
Sure, I know, right? Let me ask you this, Pat, and we're going to get into some serious news. I heard Jay Matner and Greg Bach talking about this morning on Matner on Air. I want to ask you about it. There's a great column in Milwaukee Journal Sentinel today, Dan Bice, and door knockers for Brad Schimmel in this very important election coming up 1 week from today, as a matter of fact. But before I do that, let me ask you this. Have you ever captured a groundhog?
Captured a groundhog?
Trapped it, or have you ever had a groundhog problem?
No, I've never had. Nope.
All right, well, I did the show from Richland Center the last couple of days and stayed at Mom's, who, of course, still lives back home. And she has had a groundhog occupying underneath of her deck out back of the house for a couple of years now. She goes, we got to get rid of this. She has a live trap. And listeners of this show, we took a whole segment last week, and they told me what to use for bait. And so I went through I used lettuce and cantaloupe, as our listeners told me to, and set the trap. After I got it all done, Mom goes, well, it's way too cold. He's not going to come out now. I said, well, what? And so I said it. And by golly, people are asking. I can report to you that as of yesterday, the little pieces of cantaloupe and lettuce on the outside were gone, and the big thing of lettuce in the back of the trap was gone, but the trap had not been sprung, and there was no groundhog.
Well, that's the last time you ever get that trap from the Acme Trap Company. Okay,
that's why Zomers play the Roadrunner thing.
Don't use Acme for those things. Nope.
It's a challenge. Those things are slippery.
Yeah. Now we're going to, first I was going to tee up Bill Murray from Groundhog Day,
right.
But now we've got to get him instead from Caddyshack, where you're going after the gopher. You're going to get him pretty soon. He's putting dynamite under the house. So it's a Cinderella story,
I'm the pumpkin. So anyway, All right. Well, ongoing problems with gophers. Speaking of rodents, Elon Musk is back. No, I shouldn't say that. Elon Musk is back in the news. A great column. Now, Dan Bice, here's a journalist. You know him well, Pat, I'm sure, over the years. Dan Bice is the kind of guy that if you are in elective office or you work for a current elected official, you can't stand the guy because he's asking too many questions. But once you're out of politics, he's absolutely fantastic because he gets these great stories. And he's a great journalist. Dan Bice has a column today headlined, Elon Musk Door Knocker Wants You to Vote for Brad Schimmel, but doesn't know why. And this is fantastic. Zomers, we have time to play this clip. All right, here is the action. This is from a Ring doorbell. A volunteer for Brad Schimmel's campaign knocked on the home of a Susan Crawford supporter, and here's what happened.
Survey because I'm doing work right now. So
yeah, I can do the survey too.
Okay, period. Are you guys supporting Brad Schimmel?
No. Are you supporting Brad Schimmel?
Girl, no. I work for Brad Schimmel. I don't work for him, but I work under him.
Yeah, you're being paid by Elon Musk right now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Why
so you don't support Brad Schimmel?
Okay, so I'm gonna say this. I don't know much about anything. Girl, this is just a job for me. I'm just out here getting a check. I'm not gonna
Who pays you guys?
So basically, American Pack, that's who I work under. Is a company that's sponsored by Elon Musk and Donald Trump. So that's
Yeah.
who basically pays them. So
Cool.
yeah, I'm just like a
How much do you get paid?
girl. I get paid like 25 an hour.
25 an hour. Cool. And is it just doors?
Yeah, it's just doors. So basically, I
Okay.
do door to door, and I just knock on doors. And just do my work.
Yeah. Cool. We're all voting for Susan Crawford.
Okay.
So if you want to put that in the survey, you can. But we're doing that because
What what's
abortion's on the ballot.
Oh yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
So if we elect Brad Schimmel, nobody will have the right to choose anymore.
For real?
Yeah. So
For real?
you don't have to do this. I promise. I promise. Can I have a piece of literature though?
I need my bills paid.
Thank you.
Girl.
You're good. Thank you.
I need
Boy,
my bills
Pat.
paid, girl.
I mean, you can't buy support for Brad Schimmel like that. Well, wait a minute. You actually, can for $25 an hour.
Yes. And that's, again, what you can do when you're the world's richest man and you take away all the rules. And people go, well, why should there be any rules on campaign spending? This is exactly why. When you only got to spend so much, you used it for the things that matter. When you got more money than God and you can just spend things, you can hire people. You don't have to train them fully. And if you make the pay high enough, they'll read anything. And no disrespect toward the young woman, but it's true. You need the money. This is what you got to do. You got to read the script and go door to door. And bless her for doing so. I hope that the next time around, she's doing it, for a candidate or a cause that's more in line with, her own values and lifestyle, and that she gets paid, doing something else for work. But for this is as good a campaign. This is as good a commercial as it gets for why you don't want billionaires buying your elections.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also, to your point, Pat, I was impressed with both of them. The door knocker was honest, and the Crawford supporter was, I thought, very polite and kind and just honest back. But it's very, very revealing that this Schimmel support is broad, but about an inch deep.
Oh, an inch deep at best. And but I will end on the positive note saying I knocked on, thousands of doors during my time, and it was one of my favorite parts. Now, I don't know if it's the same today, but certainly 10 and 15 years ago, it was still a very pleasant experience by and large.
All right. I forgot to ask you before we went. Can you come back or not? Or you gotta go?
I'm here for you, buddy. Yep.
All right. He's going to stick around for another segment. Come on back. Pat Kreitlow up at Lake Wissota. Is the ice still there? Or
Barely.
Water. Barely. All right. We'll come back, talk more about that and politics as well. Stay with us.
Beep, beep, zip, tang.
Real news and great conversation.
Isn't that amazing? That's just amazing audio.
Yes. Sad. It's just sad.
It is.
So we got to talk about the Broncos here at some point too.
Yes, I saw your social media post. We'll definitely talk about that.
All right. Maybe that's why I'm still tired. Oh, it was all that hockey.
And that was where was that? Was that in the Twin Cities too?
Yes, that was in St. Paul for that conference. Does a neutral site tournament in St. Paul because it's a conference that goes far and wide. St. Cloud's in there, Mankato's in there, but
What
Duluth.
facility is that?
At the XL Energy Center in St. Paul, where the Wild play.
And the Frozen Four was on campus at
The
Frozen
where was
for
the
women because the Wisconsin women won the NCAA.
right?
Was in,
Oh, that was in Minneapolis at Ritter Arena. That's right.
Oh,
yes.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, they were on campus at the U of M.
I watched. I mean, honestly, the best hockey game I've ever seen. It was incredible. The penalty shot by Kirsten Sims. I mean, holy cow! That's just amazing stick handling.
I just couldn't believe it. Yeah.
With half-price wings during the tournament games when you dine in, plus drink specials of Busch
And
Light,
it
Miller,
enabled me
and
to miss
Bud
pretty
Light,
much
and
all
make a
of the
slam dunk
basketball for the
$2
first
vouchers
weekend,
during
which now I don't have to watch any of the other weekends either.
17 North Stoughton Road in Madison.
Did you do
Follow
a
the
bracket?
Lazy Elf Lounge on the socials
I
and
did
on
at the
web,
last minute
lazylflounge.com.
for the Courier folks. So who knows? Maybe I'm really lucky.
I
haven't looked at it since.
I only have 6 teams left in the Final Four, but my saving grace is I picked Michigan State to win it all, so they're still in it. So.
20 seconds.
All right. Thank you. When he tells people that he can't attend a Zoom meeting, it's because he's in his ice shanty out on Lake Wissota. Pat Kreitlow joins us now every Tuesday at noon because he's a busy guy, but yet he's kind enough to find time in his schedule for us here at the Allbaugh Show. We appreciate that.
At least until the next meeting is put on my calendar, I got to stop giving people access to that thing.
Like the support for Brad Schimmel. Kreitlow's love for our show is broad, but about an inch deep.
No, that's not true.
No, I know it. We appreciate we're talking about this story. Today's Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Dan Bice, Elon Musk door knocker wants you to vote for Brad Schimmel, but doesn't know why. And we played the audio from this Ring doorbell, a very lovely, nice person who was employed by America PAC, which is the group, the PAC, the super PAC, that Elon Musk now, according to Bice, has put in more than $18 million in helping Schimmel's campaign, and confides to the person who's the homeowner who she went to, who is supporting Susan Crawford, girl, I'm just here to get paid.
Girl, no.
I just got to pay some bills. And look, I feel for the person when you're got to pay bills. You're not. I mean, $25 an hour. That's nothing to sneeze at, right? When you got to pay bills. But I think it shows, Pat, that this support for Brad Schimmel is not all grassroots here. It's just being bought.
Well, of course. I mean, he when you're the corporate candidate, that's what you do. Everybody to you, when you're the corporate candidate, everybody to you is an employee. I will never forget the first time Ron Johnson ran for office, and at the end of the campaign commercial, I was just dumbstruck when the fine print thing said, paid for by Ron Johnson for Senate LLC or something like that. I'm like, the guy turned his campaign into a corporation. That this is where we're going. And again, that mindset of, business, government should be run like a business. Everybody should listen to the business leaders. I got into it this morning with somebody commenting online about, why don't we give supply side a chance? Like, supply side has never worked. And Todd and I can have that Democrat-Republican debate some other time. But that's my answer in terms of, if you got all that money and you're the corporate candidate, everybody to you is just an employee, including the voters, not just the canvassers, but the voters. Elon Musk is trying to buy votes for $100. Sign my petition, quote unquote. I'll give you $100. That's how this works in their world.
Well, that's something we agree on. Is just there's too much money in politics, and Citizens United was a mess. And I used to be a guy that thought, money is speech or whatever. But after Citizens United and after this got out of control, my former boss, Dale Schultz, made the point, this is no longer about having a louder voice in the town square, metaphorically. It's about drowning everybody else's voice out. And that's where the imbalance becomes, and it's completely unfair. Let's go to the phone lines quickly, 855-752-4842. Mark, I'll give you about 45 seconds because Kreitlow and I got to talk hockey. What do you got?
Yeah, have you seen that Alessandra Basher little praise of Elon Musk video yet?
I have not.
It is something else. I mean, that is 2.5 minutes, but it is just, oh my God, it just is.
Are you, Mark? Are you seeing door knockers like this in your neck of the woods?
I haven't yet, and I'd be very polite to a young woman if she came to my door like that. But if it was one of the little Doge boys, he would get short shrift, and and he would regret knocking on my door.
Appreciate it, Mark. Well, have you on more? We got more time, but Kreitlow, I want to get to you're wearing a particular hoodie, a jersey. Tell us about this.
I rarely wear a hoodie. I've got a Packer hoodie that I'll wear once in a great while. But yeah, this was after the show, throwing on something comfortable and grabbed my Western Michigan Broncos because that was the hockey team I was following. My son-in-law works for the team, and so we were in St. Paul for the conference tournament. Saw two great games for the Broncos to advance to the NCAA tournament, so they will kick that off this weekend, I should say, while the NCAA women's national tournament just wrapped up, as we know. And I got home from those exciting hockey games Friday night, Saturday night. I get home Sunday afternoon, turn on the TV just in time for the third period of the Badger women's game for the national title. What a ride that was. I mean, it's Tuesday midday, and I still feel spent from these 3 amazing playoff hockey games. They're the best.
It really is. And what are you able to tell us what your son-in-law does for
Michigan? He's the equipment manager, at which we you learn the importance of that, not just in what he does, but sometimes what happens on the ice. In one case, on the Friday game against North Dakota, they got a penalty against them because one of the players was playing with a broken stick.
Wow.
And, that's the kind of thing an equipment manager is right on top of, notices something's wrong and grabs it. You got to have the tape the right way. The skates got to be sharpened the right way. You make all kinds of other arrangements for the team as well. And they have consistently been the number 3 or number 4 team in the nation. They're number 3 in the nation this week heading into the tournament. And, it helps you understand that having a good support staff behind the scenes plays a role in whether a team wins or loses, as we know in our business as well. Though, it lets me say this about the staffers in the Capitol, by and large, and I know you agree with this. Democrat, Republican, or in one of the independent state agencies, the most amazing, wonderful people who give public service a good name.
100%. I mean, this time of year especially, Bob Lang's staff at the Legislative Fiscal Bureau, those people are incredible. So, yeah, it translates over. I mean, at that level, especially in college hockey or any college sport, these men and women who are, I don't, the word manager, so you just do the water bottles. No. This is high-level stuff that the players at any sport really, really rely on. And, yeah, by the way, congratulations to Western Michigan on the men's side. But, boy, I watched the second period on of that Wisconsin Badger final against Ohio State. For me, it was the best hockey game I've ever seen. And that penalty shot by Kirsten Sims, some of, if not the best stick handling, men, women, college, and NHL I've ever seen.
It was so exciting knowing that it could have gone either way, knowing that the plays were great. The refs had to be on top of everything. It was just an absolute pleasure to watch. And this is a guy who, by the way, this week every year, all I'm talking about is baseball. And I am thrilled. I cannot wait for Thursday when the Brewers start things off with the Yankees. Catch the game Thursday afternoon on several Civic Media radio stations. Go to civicmedia.us to find more. But the hockey at the same time is just and then there's the brackets, but my brackets got blown up so long ago.
Here's my Sweet 16. I have 6
that's
teams left.
A lot of markings on there. I'm so sorry.
Left. Thank you. But I do have Michigan State as the winner. Luke Mathers chose Wisconsin, so maybe, but he's still ahead of me. He's still ahead of me
for now. For now,
we'll see.
That shall not last.
Patrick, appreciate you. You can listen to him every morning, 6 until 8 on Up North News Radio. On the
and now here on Tuesdays,
I don't know what
I'm going to bring tacos. It's going to be great.
Thanks, Pat. Appreciate you. Come on back on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Take that, Grandpa Olson.
I'll make sure he hears that. You're amazing. Thank you. I appreciate you.
You bet. See you later.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
See you, Aaron.
Yes, I was very surprised to see a hoodie.
But there was a reason.
There was.
The National Weather Service needs your help to become the #1 rainfall reporter state in the U.S. I'm Ben Jarbo with
Where are we going
Midwest Farm
next?
Report, and Sarah Marquardt, Senior Service Hydrologist.
I'll talk a little bit more
with the National Weather
about the
Service
Tuesday
Milwaukee
election coming up here.
Why Wisconsin is such an
Tease a little
important
bit,
state for them
Luke,
when it
and
comes to
then
measuring rainfall.
probably get into the national story of
I look at observations from the
this
Kokoraz
signal
Weather Network
text
every
that
day.
went to
I want
everybody.
to see where it rained, where it didn't, and how much rain fell. And having these observations on the ground is very important to us because we know exactly how much rain fell. We have many tools like radar and satellite and sensors at the airport that measure temperature and rainfall, but it's very important to have observations from a good old-fashioned rain gauge because those tell us exactly what happened on the ground, and that helps fill in all the gaps and really gets us the full picture of what happened.
Marquardt says that having this help will help them determine future weather patterns, as well as helping them be as accurate as possible when they release their data. For the Midwest Farm Report, I'm Ben Jarbo.
Oh, very excited for those watching the stream. My new replacement CBS coffee mug is out for delivery.
Excellent.
Out for
Excellent.
delivery. I mean, I have nothing wrong with my CBS This Morning mug, but if you weren't with us last week, after 37 years, I dropped my original CBS mug, and so now I've gone online to eBay and found a replacement. Let's see. LA Tom, money and lobbying and politics is destroying our nation. Thanks. Well, yes, sadly I agree with you on that, Tom.
Every year, these thieves are stalling projects.
They moved the screen on me, LA, so I can't. Is it Peters United? Yeah. This new studio, I gotta recombobulate myself.
He holds criminals accountable and protects the people who are just trying to do their jobs. Call Judge Schimmel and thank him for protecting
I have a
us.
song
Paid for
about
by the
drunk
Associated
texting.
Builders and Contractors of
Should I play that?
Sure,
Because
why
Pete
not?
Hegseth?
Yeah, why not?
Now let's
I
look
don't
at
think he was
the midday
drunk, but
markets.
sure.
Well, he just
Cash corn
generally
down
tends to be.
3/4 at 457 3/4, with new crop corn down 2.5 at 449. Cash soybeans are down 4 3/4 at 10.02 1/2, with new crop soybeans down 1 1/4 at 10.05 1/4. May wheat contracts are down 3 1/4 at 545, with July wheat down 3 3/4 at 561 1/2. Class 3 milk is seeing gains as April contracts are up 9 cents at 17.14 hundredweight, and May contracts are up 14 cents at 17.46 a hundredweight. For the Midwest Farm Report, I'm Ben Jarbo.
I want to have Ben Jarbo on
You
the
and
show.
your community. It's Civic Media's mission with stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at civicmedia.us.
Bright and beautiful today with plenty of sunshine and mild highs nearing the mid-40s. A few clouds roll in tonight and a small chance of rain pushes in. It'll be light and it'll be gone for tomorrow, with mostly sunny skies once again, highs tap 50. I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. It's 40 degrees at our studios.
Did you know that Wisconsin has a new, quick, and free?
Don't even ask
online
that
tax
question,
filing
LA
tool called
Tom. He asked
IRS
if you break
Direct
two,
File.
what does it mean?
Direct File is
Oh,
changing how
Lordy.
people file their taxes. and
We
bringing
don't want
more
to
money
find
into
out,
our
LA.
state through the federal earned income tax credit and child tax credit.
We do not
File
want to
your
find out.
federal and state taxes online directly with the IRS from your
I think that would mean it's
smartphone
time
or
to get a
computer.
flight out of Madison
On
to
average,
Guadalajara
less
or
than
something.
1 hour. Available
Anywhere
in
not
English
here.
and Spanish. Visit directfile.irs.gov to see if you're eligible. Sponsored by United Way of Wisconsin.
Reviewing the week's legal news with a friend of the court.
Well, I'm looking forward to Saturday morning. I haven't missed one. Outstanding. Just like being in school.
It has been a week in the
30
areas
seconds.
of law
Thank you.
and government.
I wish I was who you drunk texted at midnight. Wish I was the reason you stay up till 3 and you can't fall asleep, waiting for me to reply. I wish I was
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 34 now, past hour of 12 noon on this Tuesday, March 25th. Who amongst us hasn't been there? You have a couple of drinks and you drunk text, or you send a text to someone. You ever done that, Sommers?
Well, I have, but not in the connotation of this song. This song's saying like you text an old flame, try and rekindle things, or
Right.
someone you wish you had something with. For me, it's more just like, hey, idiot, and like just spamming people that would also spam me.
I'm trying to think of it. I don't think I've ever drunk texted an ex or anything. Maybe, I don't know. I can't, nothing comes to my mind. But I did one time, because when I have too much to drink, normally, now my family will tell you the story, and I told the story myself, back at the 2012 Rose Bowl, when I had not eaten anything all morning, and then it was very hot. Long story short, I got to the Rose Bowl, and this area that we were in didn't have much food, and I was upset about a lot of things, and so I had a couple of gin and tonics on an empty stomach, and I got a little mouthy to the Oregon fans in the stand. Not my proudest moment, but generally speaking, And if I'm home or somewhere where I'm not going to be driving and just stay put, if I have a couple of extra drinks and get buzzed or whatever, I'm a happy. I don't want. It's been a long, long, long time since I've been like drunk.
Same.
I can easily count on two hands and maybe even one the number of times that I've been like just wasted, and it was pretty much college and just after college. So
Yeah.
it hasn't for me. It hasn't been. It's been a long time. But I'm normally a what's called a happy drunk. I usually get happy and silly and just, I love everybody, whatever. And so this is shortly after, a couple of years after my friends Jonathan and Allison had their first child, whose name is Lauren. And I was so out of it, I couldn't remember her name. And so I said, you guys are the best friends ever. Tell Janelle I love her.
Oh, no.
And they to this day.
Oh, you're never going to live that down.
And now we've had her on the show. We've had Lauren on the show.
And she was great.
And she was great. She's about ready to graduate from high school now. And all these years later, occasionally they will bring up, quote unquote, Janelle, the one time Todd, happy drunk texted him and referred to their daughter by the wrong name.
There are worse things to be remembered for.
There are worse things, and there are worse things that can happen and we don't know whether he was inebriated or not. But Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth sending out a text, and there's this platform called Signal. It's like WhatsApp or other things. Signal, and it's more encrypted, meaning that it's more secure theoretically than a normal text or what have you. But it's still not like run by the government or cleared through Secret Service or CIA. It's still a private company, right?
So it's more secure, not for top secret military information.
Right. And so what happened yesterday, Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor of The Atlantic, and we refer to The Atlantic on this show often. It's a great publication, magazine, online as well, does some great reporting, been around for years, as known as a credible news source. Well, Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor of The Atlantic, revealed that he was added to a group chat on the encrypted messaging app Signal about the war plans that were out there, although Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth later denied any war plans were discussed.
He has the texts.
Accounts appearing to be Tulsi Gabbard and Ratcliffe both participated in the messaging thread, according to Goldberg. In the group chat, which was started by President Trump's national security advisor, Mike Walls, Ratcliffe allegedly shared information that, quote, that might be interpreted as related to actual and current intelligent operations, Goldberg wrote. The National Security Council said yesterday in a statement to CBS News that the message thread, quote, appears to be authentic. So today, out in Washington, D.C., Democrats grilled the leaders of the U.S. intelligence agency over that security breach, in which they inadvertently, Trump officials, told Goldberg, the journalist, in a group chat about the United States' highly sensitive plans to bomb Houthi targets in Yemen. The Houthis are part, not to get too deep into the weeds, but they're part of a terrorist organization known to be so in the Middle East. The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, and the CIA Director, John Ratcliffe, appeared before the Senate Intelligence Committee today to testify about the global threats facing the U.S. However, at the annual hearing, which typically focuses on threats posed by China, Russia, and Iran, largely concentrated on this lapse. FBI Director Kash Patel, National Security Agency Director General Timothy Howe, and Defense Intelligence Agency Director Lieutenant General Jeffrey Cruz also appeared, but received few questions. Senator Mark Warner of Virginia, the top Democrat on the committee, addressed the controversy at the top of the hearing, calling it, quote, mind-boggling, unquote, that none of the intelligence officials in the chat on the encrypted messaging app Signal appeared to check who else was included. Quote, are these government devices? Were they personal devices? Have the devices been collected to make sure there's no malware? Warner said in his opening remarks. There's plenty of declassified information that shows that our adversaries, China and Russia, are trying to break into encryption systems like Signal, unquote. Let me step away from this story on CBS for a moment to give you some perspective. There are top people in military and government who are outraged today. And again, let's take away for a moment the partisanship in this, okay? Just the fact that U.S. military secrets information, A, is being discussed on a non-government platform, meaning it's not from and not a government device. To Senator Warner's point, is dangerous because China and Russia have been hacking into these types of things that are not government devices or government platforms. Number two, and to Zaber's point, they have the texts. They're out there. And both the White House now and other government officials have confirmed under oath that, yes, that's real and this happened. But despite this, people like Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth, refuse to really acknowledge or take responsibility for this. And then, again, taking the partisanship out. This type of behavior is absolutely incredibly dangerous to the men and women in uniform in the United States military. I hope that we have not passed the day where, regardless of our political affiliation on a partisan level, that we can all acknowledge that the men and women who put on the uniform of the United States of America, their lives come first. That we should all be working together to ensure their safety first. And incidents like this do the opposite. They endanger the men and women who wear the military uniform. Pete Buttigieg, former United States Transportation Secretary, himself a United States veteran, took to social media to discuss this and talk about the danger that this has caused. Our friend from the Lincoln Project, senior advisor, not Trygve Olsen, but our other friend there, Stuart Stevens, who has left the Republican Party like me, who was much higher up, helped run campaigns for the Bushes and for Mitt Romney and the like. He says this, Stuart Stevens, in a tweet today, quote, "Here is a simple test of the seriousness of the Republican National Security's massive incompetence. If this were a campaign, and a campaign manager invited a journalist into a high-level strategy text chat, every Republican would fire their campaign manager immediately. But Secretary of Defense? Question mark. Unquote. Stewart's right that if this were a campaign for U.S. Senate or for president, and a campaign manager had this kind of a slip up, they'd be gone. Boom. Done. And guess what? There's nobody's lives at risk in something like that. Well, at least there didn't used to be. 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Dale, listening in Wausau of the XCO. Dale, you wanted to check in with us? What do you got?
Yes. Wanted to say that, like Greenland, there is something significantly strategically and geographically important to the Trump administration for gaining control of Panama and the Panama Canal as a road to move from the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic. By the way, I've done some research on what shipping traffic can move through the canal. Besides container ships, oil tankers, and dry bulk ships, wheeled vehicle cargo carriers can move through the canal. Also, our smaller, earlier, built in the past aircraft carriers can pass through the canal, but our super carriers, Nimitz-class carriers, can't go through the canal because they are too wide. And we have no idea, really, what's going on with the interest in Greenland and in the Panama Canal on what strategy they have for, the Panama Canal and for Greenland.
Help me understand.
Something's going on.
So help me understand, Dale. You're saying that you're in favor of the Trump administration threatening sovereign nations with military action.
I'm not in favor of that whatsoever.
Okay.
I'm just saying that there's something going on where they're interested in Greenland and Panama Canal. It sounds like a strategy to me.
I can't. Are you in favor of what Trump's doing or against it?
Well, I'm wondering why they're so interested in Greenland and the Panama Canal. It sounds like the Trump administration is up to no good with those two things, especially.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you on that. Thanks, Dale. I appreciate the call. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm kind of off topic, but what Donald Trump is doing in the Trump administration in Greenland, and we talked about this, yesterday, Zommers, with Denmark, or last week, J.D. Vance, over the weekend, saying, that that Denmark, who owns Greenland, isn't being a good ally. Denmark is one of the best allies we have in Europe. They're a member of NATO, by the way. We're sworn to help protect them as a country. Panama controls the Panama Canal. They're a sovereign nation. So if the United States has reason to have interest in that or concern, then you talk to them like a friend as an ally. You don't threaten to take them over by force. And it ties in somewhat with what we were talking about, this news today, that if Defense Secretary Hegseth is being this cavalier discussing active U.S. military operations on a non-governmental phone, a non-governmental platform like Signal, and he slipped up and sent it to a reporter, for goodness sake, who else is he slipping up and sending this information to? Come on back. We'll take your phone calls on a Tuesday. 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842 is the Allbaugh Show right here on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Station 92.7 WMDX.
Judge Brad Schimmel surrounds himself with extremists. He's supported by national and state anti-abortion organizations because he opposes abortion rights. But don't take my word for it. Hear it from Schimmel himself. When asked about abortion, he said,
"We have to shut this down. We have to shut this down."
When asked about Wisconsin's abortion ban, which doesn't include exceptions for rape, incest, or help of the mother,
The 1849 ban on abortions, which, by the way, what is flawed about that law? What is flawed about that law?
Brad Schimmel takes the side of extremists and would place politicians in charge of decisions that individuals should be making. By taking the side of extremists, he's not listening to Wisconsin residents. Tell Judge Brad Schimmel, keep extremist politics out of our court decisions. Call 262-548-7548. That's 262-548-7548. Paid for by A Better Wisconsin Together Incorporated.
I'm Dan Schaefer. Let's recombobulate. Folks, we've got to talk about Derek Van Orden. The second-term congressman representing Wisconsin's 3rd District is at it again, dodging public meetings and making all kinds of unhinged comments. as many scramble and struggle to understand the chaos of what's happening in Washington, D.C., and how it's impacting people here in Wisconsin, Van Orden has been as frustrating and disrespectful as ever. In one instance, Van Orden took to social media to berate a veteran who had been fired from his job at the VA by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. And the veteran in question is simply someone who was just reaching out to his congressman, looking for answers. Van Orden's office has also hastily canceled public meetings, and he has
25
made
seconds.
Gracias. Pursuing truth wherever it may lead and having fun doing it. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network, where it is now 9 minutes before the hour of 1 o'clock. Stay with us. In hour 2, it is day number 2 of our Break into Spring Text to Win Trivia Extravaganza. Your chance to win great prizes. And today, so one day it could be a great getaway to Chula Vista Resort in Wisconsin Dells. Another day, it might be 2 club-level seats to the Milwaukee Brewers. Or another day, like today, your chance to win $100 in cash, in singles. We ship them to you in the mail, 100, no, we don't. But $100, your chance for $100 today. And everybody who enters next hour is going to get entered in to win the grand prize of a Verlo mattress wonderful package. So stay tuned to that. Your chance to, we got to download the Civic Media app. That's the only way to enter. We'll tell you the secret word to enter next hour. All right. Also, what's worse for today, and Luke Mathers normally joins us at 12:30 on Tuesdays. He is not here right now because he is preparing for the voluminous incoming texts in hour number 2. We'll talk more about that. Right now, talking about what's happening in Washington, D.C., the danger of Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth putting out on the private app, chat app called Signal, and how dangerous this is to American interests, particularly for the men and women who put on the uniform. And what else is getting out on these private, non-government controlled apps and devices? 855-752-4842. Let's go quickly to the RC, WRCE Richland Center, Whistler. Whistler, thanks for calling in. Let's see.
Hey, Todd. I watched this reporter's interview, the editor of The Atlantic, last night on Rachel Maddow.
Yep.
And then I watched, the hearing this morning. And I'll tell you what, I chuckled through both of them because I'm thinking to myself, how dumb could these people be?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wore the uniform.
Right.
It's just insane. And the 2 generals, or the military guys,
right?
They were asked just a few questions, but they grilled. Radcliffe, he should have been there in the first place, and same thing with Tulsi Gabbard. But I just want to throw that 2 cents worth in.
I appreciate the feedback and watching that. And yeah, I think again, anybody in the military who's serious and not just a Trump stooge, they're going to be honest and say, let's take the partisanship out, regardless of who did this. This is extraordinarily dangerous to the men and women who put on the uniform. 855-752-4842. Going to L.A. Tom next, out beautiful Los Angeles, California. L.A., what have you got?
Well, Todd, first I got to say, if Republicans are spewing it, they're doing it. Seriously, I would love to stay nonpartisan because you know what? I think we are all Americans. But I'll tell you what, the way that they harassed Secretary Clinton, all those years of an email server or whatever the heck it was, this is so much worse.
Right.
And if you go back and you listen to what these same people said about Hillary Clinton, And we can't let this go. This is secrets of ours, of national security. I mean, what the hell is going on?
No, I totally agree. And when I say take the partisanship out, I don't mean, I'm not here to blame the Republicans on this and the Trump people. I am. I'm just saying that, because some people will say, oh, you're just saying this because it's Trump's people that did it.
No.
And my point is I'm bringing this up not because in any sort of a partisan light. I don't care what party would have done this. I would be equally as outraged by it. That's my point.
And you know what? And absolutely. And I would be too. And that's why we're actual people that care about America. I don't find that the Democratic Party is always looking to divide and conquer people. And I feel like the Republican Party always is looking for a way to divide us, to make it where, oh, Hillary Clinton did that too. Blah, blah. No, this is the level of incompetence that you've never seen before in the government, ever.
I appreciate the call. I'm up against the clock, LA. Let's go quickly next to Madison on WMDX. Tom and Madison, thanks for calling in, Tom. What have you got?
Yeah, I think everybody's just following Trump's example of no accountability whatsoever and a huge dash of absolute arrogance. When you saw Hegseth's response today, it was attack the journalist.
Right.
And said it never happened, and he started whining about Russia, Russia, Russia. And, you know, if the journalist wasn't in on that meeting, then he never would have known about it. It's absurd to even deny it. The only humorous thing I found coming out of it on social media today is that maybe we should call it Whiskey Leaks instead of WikiLeaks.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, but I think, you know, when Hegseth got confirmed, I swear it's kind of like, I wonder how many months he'll last. And hopefully this will be the end of Hegseth, because he's an embarrassment from the beginning.
I appreciate the call. And again, if to Stuart Stevens' point, if this were a presidential campaign and campaign information got leaked to a journalist like this, they'd be gone. So let's see if Trump values the men and women in uniform as much as his campaign. 855-752-4842. Gene, if you could make it brief on WCFW, the Tap Eau Claire. Gene, thanks for calling. What do you got?
Well, we already know where Trump stands with his buddy Putin. We already know where he stands making enemies of our neighbors. We already know where he stands when he only thinks of himself and nothing else in our country. So, you know, we're on our own here. Yeah. And I can't believe what's going on, and those Republicans better get their, you know what, together, because they need to stop this stuff, because it is harming America and it's destroying us from the inside out. Thank you.
Yep, thanks, Gene. Up against the clock. Bill, Bruce, and others, we see you on the line. As Matt Flynn says, do not hang up. We'll take your calls on the other side. Going to give away $100 next hour. And what's worse, stay with us. Sorry.
Madison's Real News and Great Conversation, 92.7 WMDX. Pete Schwaba.
On the next Nightlight, I welcome actor from The Cleaning Lady, Bob Cicchini. And then Northeast Wisconsin-based comedian Kristen Leidy joins the show to talk about some really fun upcoming shows. Let's light it up.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. Weeknights from 6 till 8.
Blind Shot Social Club, a perfect blend of cool, casual dining, indoor golf with space for events, craft cocktails, and non-alcoholic drinks too. A hidden gem on Madison's East Side. Blind Shot Social Club, open to everyone. BlindShotSocialClub.com.
Out here in the middle of these acres, it can feel like you're the only person on earth. That's how it feels when you're struggling with your mental health. But you don't have to feel alone. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Your news, conversations, and a whole lot of fun. It's all on your local Civic Media radio station or the Civic Media app. This is 92.7 WMDX Columbus, Madison's home for real news and great conversation. A Civic Media station.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The White House pushing back on criticism over the military operations group text with high-level defense and intel cabinet members that accidentally included a journalist on that chat. But at an intel hearing today, Senate Democrats blasting the security breach, saying sharing real-time information about the U.S. strikes on Houthi rebels put U.S. military personnel in harm's way. ABC's Louis Martinez is at the Pentagon.
You heard many Democratic senators ask them very precisely, do you characterize whether target information, whether
whether timing information of a potential strike is classified or not, and you got some very fuzzy answers. But I think when you talk to military officials here at the Pentagon, the answer you're going to get is yes, that is classified information.
The conference board showing consumer confidence has dropped to a 12-year low due to concerns over tariffs and economic uncertainty. And it's a code red day for air quality in North Carolina as fire crews continue to battle those wildfires. This is ABC News.
You can always continue the conversation on social media. Share your thoughts when you find and follow Civic Media on Facebook, X, and Instagram.
For 92.7 WMDX News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. Madison is officially starting its search for the next police chief. Former Chief Sean Barnes stepped down last month. The Police and Fire Commission is tasked with finding his replacement, and they know this process well. The city has had 4 police chiefs since 2020. Right now, John Patterson is leading the department.
Is that easier to read with
Barnes'
capitals?
Endorsement. So the commission's focus now is to find
A little
someone
bit, yeah.
who will stay a while.
Yep,
Commission member
Hank said I
Veronica
can see
Figueroa
that.
Velez at their meeting
Clinton
last night.
comparison. Yep, that's a little
police
easier.
didn't last
Thank you.
long, and we need a person with experience.
For those watching the stream, Todd's trying to get used to the new
The Police and
studio.
Fire Commission
I'm
decided
further
to
away now
increase
from
the
some of the
job
screens, and it
qualifications and
shows
require
you
that
I
any
got to go in
applicants
for an
have
eye
at least 5
exam
years
because I
of
need a
experience in law
little
enforcement
adjustment.
leadership.
I can
Meanwhile,
also,
Wisconsin Democrats have again introduced a bill that would become
always
the
do this
Economic
again,
Justice
you
Bill
know,
of
just
Rights.
put
It doesn't
text
lay
on
out plans.
on
It's
there.
more
Oh,
generalized.
I don't have
It
that
says
Never mind,
Democrats
that's not
must have
working.
the right to
Okay.
live
The
in
screen
ways
isn't working,
affordable
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we got to fix that.
sustainable environment, safe
I
for
told
fine,
Cas-
I'll look at my
Casper
phone.
thinks he knows
This
what
is
the problem
third
is.
time
All right.
they're proposing it. But Speaker Robin
so
Frost
That's
says
fine.
they
I'll look at
quote,
my
"Can't be serious."
text here.
Joanne Krulak has more.
It's a resolution similar to one the legislature's minority party has proposed for the past several years to codify rights related to employment and collective bargaining, public education and child care, and a clean, sustainable environment, among others. Representative Francesca Hung of Madison said she reached out to Republican lawmakers and was disappointed there was not interest. Hung said Democratic legislators represent Republicans, Democrats, and constituents in between and know that this is what all of them deserve. But Voss said neither his office or those of other Republican leaders were contacted.
That's Joanne Krulak reporting. I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. This is 92.7 WMDX News.
The Bucks lose in Phoenix. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Bucks losing to the Suns 108-106. Milwaukee shorthanded. Damian Lillard still out with a strained calf muscle. He's getting another MRI. Center Jericho Sims had thumb surgery. That meant another long night for Brook Lopez, who played 41 minutes.
I'm good to go. I'll do whatever the team asks of me. I love doing this. I want to do it as long as I can. So I'm happy to be out there with my guys.
Doc Rivers frustrated with a ticky-tack foul call on Bucks guard Ryan Rollins.
Yeah, it's frustrating because I thought both teams played hard, but those are the type of plays that can kill you. And, the my faults, that doesn't do anything. Ryan gets a touch foul, and then we call no foul, but now Ryan has 4 fouls. Just so many little things like that during the game where I thought really, affected the game.
Baseball, Brewers with a 4-2 win over the Rockies to close out spring training. They head to New York to face the Yankees on Thursday. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
Enjoying this local program? Find the complete Civic Media lineup at civicmedia.us or the Civic Media app.
Bright and beautiful today with plenty of sunshine and mild highs nearing the mid-40s. A few clouds roll in tonight and a small chance of rain pushes in. It'll be light and it'll be gone for tomorrow, with mostly sunny skies once again, highs tap 50. I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. It's 43 degrees at our studios.
Is your computer so slow you can hardly use it? Does it have blue screens, malware, viruses, reboots, hardware crashes? Sound familiar? Computers will have problems, and when they do, you need the computer experts at Madison Computer Works. Every day we help home users and businesses keep their computers and networks running smoothly. For solutions to your computer problems, call the pros at 231-8000, and we'll turn this into this. Madison Computer Works. Computers that work for you.
I used to smoke. I thought of cigarettes as my best friend.
They were always there for me when I needed a break.
I also thought cigarettes were my best friend, and then they gave me peripheral artery disease.
I smoked and had a stroke. Actually, multiple strokes.
I smoked and have heart
Smokes are for jokes.
Here's my tip.
About 30
if
seconds.
cigarettes are your
Thank you.
friend, you need a better.
Live from the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Todd Allbaugh, along with our outstanding producer, Mr. Aaron Zommers, on the board. It is 6 past the hour of 1 o'clock. Welcome into hour number 2 of the big program. It is Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite here at the world headquarters in downtown Madison. Sun is out. Still a little chilly, Zommers, but all in all, not too bad of a spring day. They say maybe 60s by the end of the week or middle.
Not bad at all.
Not bad at all. Glad to be along with you here, back together again after being on the road for a couple of days. They did some modifications, but thanks to the engineering folks, we have a table now. So now Todd is sitting at a table instead of standing for 2 hours, and which is great. But that just means that I'm going to have to really start working out, or I'm going to inflate like a balloon. So that's what's going on. And a couple of texts wondering where's Lukester for a Tuesday. Our friend Luke Mathers. Here's the deal with this text to win contest. Now, Luke is busy formulating strategies and making sure that the voluminous amounts of text that come in are personally curated for responses. This is fantastic. He's a busy man. He does it all. You understand? He's helping us produce. He's helping other shows. And now he's helping to run this text to win contest. So he will still stop in occasionally on Tuesdays, but he's tied up right now.
As happens to all of us.
And not in a good way. All right, 8 minutes past the hour of, 8 minutes past the hour, 1 o'clock. I want to get to your calls because we were talking about in the last hour. This is really important that it's come out now that Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, was talking about defense strategy, military attacks against the Houthi terrorist group in the Middle East. But he was talking about it in a group text chat on a platform called Signal. And if you're not familiar, Signal is kind of like WhatsApp. It's different than your normal texting in your iPhone or your Android device, just where it says messages, you can text people back and forth. The idea with a platform like Signal is that it's supposed to be better encrypted, which in layman's terms means it's tougher to break into and hack into. But it is not, it's a private platform owned by a private entity. It's not a government platform. And there are questions now, like Donald Trump, who is known to continue to use his personal iPhone and not take a government iPhone. Now there are questions, Hegseth and other people, in very top-level people in the government, including Tulsi Gabbard, in this chat, whether or not all these military and defense secrets are being just talked about willy-nilly on non-government issued phones and non-government platforms. So you say, well, Todd, what's the big deal? Because our top men and women in national security, CIA, FBI, they formulate devices that are much less susceptible to be hacked by people like Russia and China than the phones that you and I use. And the reason is that obviously our top people in the government are public figures, and Russia and China and others that wish to do us harm know how to hack into these devices. And the idea is to keep this secret to protect this information from getting into enemy hands, which could then lead to the death of our men and women in uniform. And Hegseth included in this group chat a reporter from the Atlantic. And he's like, where did this come from? It has been now confirmed this is real by the Trump administration, and it was a mistake. Boy, that's a hell of a mistake. And now there are questions of what else is going on. Going to discuss that, so just hang on for 1 second. I got Len, I got Bill, I got Bruce, I got Cornell. We're going to get to all of you on this, but I got to do a little business. First of all, we got to open up and give you the secret word for this hour so people can start texting in. Let's go. Here it is. Time once again for our Break into Spring Text to Win contest. Here we go.
Sun is shining in the sky. There ain't a cloud in sight. It stopped raining. Everybody's in the lake.
Not a cloud in sight. Here we go. Time once again for our Break into Spring. That's LEO, right?
ELO.
ELO,
Yes.
yeah.
Electric Light Orchestra.
Not sure I'm sold on it. Not
All right,
sure.
we can do something else.
Anyway, it's time to do the word of the day. So here's the deal. Tune in every time for the next 2 weeks during this time slot. I'm going to give you a word, a secret word to text in. You must do it via the Civic Media app. If you don't have it, download it right now for free. Won't cost you a dime. Takes less than a minute. Go to your app store, type in Civic, CIVIC, Media. Click on that, download it. Open it up. The first 11 stations, News Talk Sports, are where we appear. Click on any of them, preferably the one closer to you. Then in the lower right-hand corner, it says text. Click on that. I'm going to give you the word. This hour, you're not competing with anybody else the rest of the day, you understand? Just the people from this hour that text in, from that pool, the computer will randomly select one of you, and somebody at the end of this hour is going to be $100 richer. That's right, $100 given away this hour, no catch. And then everybody gets entered in for our grand prize of a Verlo mattress set. Now, other days, you might give away a vacation package to Chula Vista Resort in Wisconsin Dells or Milwaukee Brewers club level tickets. But today's hourly prize on our show is $100. Here we go. The word of the hour is warm. W-A-R-M. Warm. With the sun coming out, it's bound to get warm. W-A-R-M as in Mary. And make sure that you text carefully because the computer will not recognize misspelled words. Warm. W-A-R-M as in Mary. Warm is the secret word. Somebody's going to go home $100, Richard. All right, let's go back to the phone lines on this question of Hegseth and this text that was sent out, including a journalist at the Atlantic on military actions for the military, for our men and women in uniform. 855-752-4842. Bill, listening in Milwaukee at WAUK. Bill, thanks for holding. What say you?
Hi. I just wanted to say I'm sure glad that we've got Pete White makes right Hegseth in there in the Pentagon and not some inexperienced DEI hire, taking it up.
I hear the sarcasm, right? And you're right.
Oh, God. If I can mention one other bit of sarcasm.
Please.
When Hegseth was nominated, there's a woman who writes for the ultra pro-Trump New York Post defending he said that anyone against him was an elitist. He said Hegseth was qualified because he had served in the military and because he had gone to Princeton and Harvard. And I thought to myself, Miranda, referring to the columnist, Miranda, you are qualified to be publisher of the New York Post. After all, you work for the New York Post and you went to a respected school, in her case, Northwestern.
Right? That's a great point. Great point. No, Bill, I appreciate the call. And it's absolutely ridiculous to think that this guy, Pete Hegseth, who was not high up in the military, although he did serve, was a host on Fox television. If you look at the things he said, extremist, misogynistic.
Christian nationalist tattoos.
Yes, Christian nationalist tattoos, amongst others. And he's making the decision to fire along with Trump, the joint chairman and the chief of staff, which was a 4-star general, a lot more of experience than Hegseth ever had, but to the point of the caller, happened to be black. It's sick. 855-752-4842. Cornell, listening in the beautiful town of Merrill. Cornell, thanks for holding and tuning in. What say you?
Yeah, thanks, Todd. Yeah, well, the question is, there was a military guy, I can't remember the story, that he was putting out classified information on his personal computer for a long time. So I think they put him in prison, or I don't know if the case went through. So, I mean, the guy I think is in prison, or I don't know if the case went up. So what's the difference that these top guys release this classified information, and somebody should be fired because they're putting military in harm's way? I mean, I hope they're not chatting about the nuclear codes, because we're all going to be up the creek. So I'll get your comment on that. I don't know about that guy. I think he's still in prison.
Yeah, well,
for
help me out. And
these-
it slipped my mind right now. It's he's in exile right now, outside the country. They're trying to extradite him back to the U.S. Judas Priest, Todd. It's hard.
I thought there was another guy that he was a young guy. He was like 21, 22, and he just started, and he was putting out classified information, but maybe he is on the outside and got out of the country.
Right.
So, I mean, what's the difference? I mean, some of these guys should really be fired. You're putting the military in harm's way, and it's not right.
No, you're absolutely right. I appreciate the call. Thank you so much, Cornell. It doesn't, and this is why, and I'm glad that Tom from LA earlier kind of clarified it. I'm not saying that I'm not holding Republicans or the Trump administration accountable on this. I certainly am. My point in saying that I'm trying to look at it in a nonpartisan standpoint is I'm not just saying this because it's in a Republican or MAGA or Trump administration. If this kind of behavior happened, regardless of the party in control, I would be outraged. That's what I'm saying. And to the caller's point, we've seen this before, where people have broken the national security codes or broken the code of honor, have given out secrets, and there's severe penalties, as there should be. And now we have the sitting Secretary of Defense with a security breach. This is a cardinal sin, because it puts the men and women who wear the uniform in danger. 855-752-4842. Let's go to Bruce here in Stoughton in Dane County, listening on WMDX. Bruce, thanks for holding. Let's see.
Sure thing. Hey, Todd. So with respect, I believe you're mischaracterizing this slightly.
How so?
As important as all this is. Okay, well, you're framing it as incompetence by giving it to the
Bruce, you know what?
Reporter, which is true.
Bruce, hang on. I don't want to cut you off. So hang through the break. I'm up against the clock. The computer doesn't let me stretch it. So hang through the break. We'll come back and take Bruce's call after this. You're listening to the Todd Allbaugh Show right here on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Wisconsin's children, both elections affect all of us and our communities. But
you remember the
here's
guy?
good
I
news.
was trying to
When
tip
the
my
people of
tongue. The
Wisconsin
guy.
show up
Snowden?
Yes,
Or-
that's it. That's it. Was it Richard?
The NAACP
Edward.
Wisconsin
That's
State Conference
I knew it had a
is
D in
asking
it.
you to be a game
Edward
changer.
Snowden.
Wisconsin, don't be fooled. Use the
Thank
power
you.
of your vote. Now through March 29th, mail your absentee ballot or vote early in person.
And then there's
Or
the girl
show
that
up at
got
polls
the
on
woman that
April
got
1st to vote. Wisconsin's
put in
future is
prison
at
for a
stake.
lot
Use your
less.
voice and protect the future.
Paid for by the NAACP, empowering our communities through engagement and action.
Winter is out and winning is in. It's our Break into Spring statewide text to win contest on your local Civic Media radio station. Your daily shot at a Chula Vista getaway, Milwaukee Brewers club level tickets, or $100 cash. And every entry gets you closer to the grand prize. A brand new Verlo Queen mattress set from Verlo of Madison, including a mattress, sheets, protector, and pillows. Download the Civic Media app from the App Store or Google Play Store. Choose your stations, then and get set to text to win. It's time to break into spring with WMDX.
Found an injured, sick, or orphaned wild animal? Dane County Humane Society's Wildlife Center can help. Call 608-287-3235 or visit giveshelter.org/wildlife for what to do next.
The first time seeing my son, I feel like my life did a 180.
Pursuing truth wherever it may lead and having fun doing it. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. It is now 21 past the hour of 1 o'clock on Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. Don't forget, we're right in the middle of today's secret word. Somebody this hour is going to be $100 richer when the clock strikes 2 o'clock. All you have to do is download the Civic Media app. If you don't have it, go to one of our great stations, the first 11 that we are on, the one closest to you, or select one. Then in the lower right-hand corner, it'll say text. Click on that and text the following word right now. Warm. W-A-R-M as in Mary. Warm. As in, with the sun coming out, it will get warm.
Or if you win our grand prize of the Verlo mattress set, you'll keep nice and toasty, nice and warm.
Nice and warm. W-A-R-M, warm. Text it right now. Somebody's going to win $100, and everybody gets into the pool to win the grand prize of a Verlo mattress set. Also talking about what's happening in D.C., Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth sent out a group chat on the chat platform called Signal. Private company runs it, not a part of the U.S. government secure information network. And talked about this military attack on the Houthis, a terrorist organization in the Middle East. He claims inadvertently he included a reporter from The Atlantic on this. And now the Trump administration has confirmed that the texts are indeed real. I believe, like other military leaders, former military leaders, this is a major, major screw-up. Because you're talking about military action on a non-government entity platform, putting our men and women at risk. Bruce in Stoughton, listening on WMDX, disagrees. Bruce, I appreciate your viewpoint. I appreciate you holding. I didn't want to cut you off. The computer, when it gets up, I have no control over the commercials. I didn't want you to think I was cutting you off because I disagree with you, but I want to give you time. Go ahead.
No problem. Okay. So I was saying, I believe, as important as this is, that you're mischaracterizing it slightly, or I don't know, greatly maybe.
How so?
So you're saying it's incompetent and it's a security risk, and I totally agree with both of those things. But it's a security risk. Why? Because our enemies might get the information, right? Well, now it's being reported. Adam Kinzinger first came out with this, and I think CBS News has kicked it up in the sporadic outlets, that Steve Witkoff, Trump's Mideast negotiator, arrived the day before this chat in Moscow and left a few hours after. He was in Moscow and in on this chat. There is also tentative reporting, and don't hold me to this part, this is not confirmed, it may not be true, but that he had a meeting with Putin early in the morning, would have been 1 a.m. at the time that this thing was wrapping up. Now, this is what always happens with the media and Democrats is we pull our punches. This, it's not about is a security risk. This is like when Trump took the boxes of classified information and we all said, oh, this is a risk. Well, he moved them around and tried to hide them. It wasn't that it was a risk. It was clear to anybody who was watching that he was going to try to monetize that information. But nobody dares say that. And I just think we have to keep our eye on the prize here. It's not a risk. It was a betrayal. He had a man in Moscow. So it's the likelihood is that Moscow was cut in on this if they didn't order it.
I appreciate the perspective.
My piece.
I don't think we're that far off. I think I pretty much agree with you. You just took it a step further. And I appreciate you qualifying the way that you did, saying that it's not 100% confirmed, but it is being reported, and that's why if I haven't seen what I consider qualified proof, then I want to make sure people know that. I don't disagree with you, Bruce. I think it's very likely that happened. Zombers?
Yeah, the other thing that's troubling to me is that the settings on Signal, according to the journalist who was in the chat, was set to disappear after a certain amount of time. And so not only is it very likely a betrayal of the U.S. to Russia, it's a betrayal against the citizens, because now those chats are gone. You can't request anything with the Freedom of Information Act.
Right. No, a great call, Bruce. I really appreciate it. Thanks for listening. I go back to Don Rumsfeld, Defense Secretary under George W. Bush. I didn't always agree with him, but one of his great quotes is, there are things that we know, there are things we don't know, and there are things that we don't know unquote. And that's the scariest part, right, about this. There are things that we know we don't know. And that could be the worst of all. 855-752-4842. Let's go to Wisco Paul. Wisco, if you can make it quick, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can make it quick because I don't know a lot about the whole thing other than when I was in the Army, I was in communication. And the number one thing is he did not send out anything sensitive without it being encrypted. You just couldn't do it. And that's the first rule with any communications. I did not agree with Hillary with her unsecured phone, but this is very, very serious. And anybody with any kind of military background knows this is a very serious offense. So that's all I want to say. Have a great day.
You too, Wisco. Great perspective being a communication person in the military. 855-752-4842. WMDX listener in Madison, Joe. Joe, you got about a minute and a half. If you can get it in there, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I want to expand on what the previous caller, Bruce, said in reference to this meeting in Moscow. There is an article that you can find on a site called On Democracy. You can find it at fpwellman.substack.com. The title is It's 1,000 Times Worse Than You Think. He goes through this and he talks about this meeting in Moscow. It is important to understand that the guy that is sent there is a guy named Steve Witkoff. He was actually in Moscow when this call was happening. He's Trump's special envoy to Russia, a property developer, so that works well. And he did the reporter did the timeline, Todd, which is really important because this guy arrived in Moscow. This was the guy that was kept waiting for 8 hours by Putin till Putin sat down to meet with him. And then the meeting did not wind up until 1 a.m. And the question that this reporter asked, which I think is really interesting, because we understand that Steve Witkoff was in Moscow in the Kremlin. The question to ask is, what was he using? Did he use his own phone? Did he have malware on it? Did he use Wi-Fi that was, in Moscow? He got in this chat. Did he use Moscow cell service or the Kremlin Wi-Fi? Holy cow! We just started.
Great call, Joe, as always, and a great follow-up to Bruce. We'll talk more about it on the other side. Also, text the word WARM, W-A-R-M, right now to win $100 on the Civic Media app. Got to do it on the app. The word is WARM, W-A-R-M. Text it now. We'll come back. What's worse, and more discussion on this topic. Your calls. It's the Todd Allbaugh Show on Civic Media.
Madison's real news and great conversation.
Chelsea Manning, LA Times.
Thank you, Chelsea.
This is your
It's
local
been one of those
Civic
days.
Media
Thank you,
radio
LA. Yes,
station.
Chelsea
Want to
Manning.
hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us.
For 92.7 WMDX News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. There's a new way to see how the federal funding cuts could impact Wisconsin schools. The Department of Public Instruction now has a web page and a map tracking how much federal money goes into each district. It shows the Madison Metropolitan School District received $26 million from the federal government last year. That money can pay 215 staff members. The Trump administration has already cut more than $11 million from the local Food for Schools program, which helps pay local farmers and make healthy meals for children. Meanwhile, the administration has also stopped some weather practices here in Wisconsin that may make forecasts less accurate. They've had to cut some of their data gathering processes in half after decades and decades. Meteorologist Brittany Merlot explains.
In the last month, the National Weather Service has been forced to stop or reduce routine weather balloon launches at 14 of their approximately 100 sites across the country. And it's all due to staffing cuts by the current federal administration. Green Bay was one of those sites added. So now, Green Bay NWS will only launch one balloon at 6 p.m. because they're forced to cut the 6 a.m. daily launch. Now, what do these balloons do? Well, they gather data as they fly away and beam atmospheric information back. It produces a fancy graph for us meteorologists to then dissect and use for forecasting. Now,
Oh,
not
we should
only
do
does
the
National
thing because
Weather
John and
Service
Gordy
use
got to be
this,
here.
But also emergency services
Summers.
and airports.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
it's very important
Pulled it up,
information
but I didn't.
specifically for forecasting tornadoes.
Okay. Ready when you are.
3, 2, and 1. Hey, everybody, join us next time. Our old friend Trygve Olsen, senior advisor at the Lincoln Project, has some new polling data in terms of the spring race in Wisconsin. We'll discuss it. Join us. Thank you.
News.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Film festival fans, this is for you. Tickets are currently on sale for the upcoming films at the Wisconsin Film Festival. The Wisconsin Film Festival runs from April 3rd through the 10th. They typically offer over
I wonder if they have
150
any really
films,
good sports
including
documentaries in
35
that.
millimeter
I don't
restored
know.
film classics,
Just hypothetically.
independent
Right.
films, great personal appearances from well-known filmmakers and actors, and most importantly, outstanding movies from Wisconsin's own filmmakers. Check out the Wisconsin Film Festival website and see what you like. The new Robert De Niro film, The Alto Nights, was a disappointment to critics and now at the box office. Despite heavy hitters like De Niro playing 2 gangster roles and a script from the prolific Nicholas Pileggi, the film was a total
David
buzz
Berlin,
after
if you're
barely
watching
taking
the
in $3
stream,
million
I think
against a
that
$45
the
million
callers
budget.
there
There's
are
a long
kind of
road
alluding to
ahead for
Bruce and Joe,
profitability,
and I agree with them,
probably never happen.
is
For more
that
showbiz fun, tune in
there's
to
even
Nightlife
more to
with
this
me,
story
Pete
about the
Schwaba,
Hegseth
weeknights from 6
text
to
that
8
we know
p.m.
right
on the
now,
Civic Media
and it may be
Radio
even
Network.
worse in terms of military things maybe being passed on directly to the
And
Kremlin.
your community.
So.
It's Civic Media's mission with stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at
Barb in
civicmedia.us.
Waukesha, I didn't receive the confirmation text you
Plenty
just
of
sent.
sunshine and
Zommers,
mild
does that
highs
mean
near the
anything necessarily?
mid-40s. A few
Or not?
clouds
I'll take a
roll in
look.
tonight
All right,
and a
thank you.
small chance of
We're on
rain
it, Barb.
pushes
Thank you
in.
for listening.
It'll be light and it'll be gone for tomorrow, with mostly sunny skies once again. Highs tap 50. I'm meteorologist.
People can,
Brittany
if they want,
Merlot.
just go ahead
It's
and enter
43
again,
degrees
right?
At our studios.
We only take one, but people can
Wherever
still try
you are
if
in
they
Wisconsin,
think
there's
they
a
can go
free
through.
and confidential Aging and Disability Resource Center, ADRC, or Tribal Partner Agency. We're
Okay,
here for older
it
adults,
looks like
adults
it
with
did go through
disabilities,
for
and
Barb.
their
I'll text
families.
her.
Okay, all right, thank you.
ADRCs are a bridge to support for benefits and financial assistance, transportation, in-home care, and more. Get to know your local ADRC and connect with resources today. Call toll-free 1-844-WIS-ADRC.
Yeah, it's weird. She texted it and it didn't give her the confirmation. And then she texted it again and it said, you already entered.
Tons of glass artists share the same passion for eye-catching art as Ignite Glass and Gifts. So we're showcasing their work alongside our talented local artists and our in-house Ignite artists. The latest techniques, the hottest colors, and mind-blowing designs are here
30
for you
seconds.
to enjoy.
Thank you.
Madison's favorite.
Pursuing the truth wherever it may lead and having fun doing it. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 34 minutes now past the hour of 1 o'clock. Going to go back to the phone lines in just a moment. A quick reminder, it is time to break into spring. It feels springy out there. The sun is out. Temperature is warming up. And here's the thing. As we get into spring, there are more activities to do. We're not confined, you understand? We're not in our burrows. Like the groundhogs, we're emerging from our burrows, hungry and looking for things to do. And what's better for you to do something, to have the means to treat yourself than $100, right? You know, like nobody's going to turn down $100. guess what? We got you covered. Here is somebody in the next 25 minutes. Because some contests, well, my odds aren't very good. I'm up against a lot of people. No. In our Break into Spring Text to Win contest, you're only competing against the people this hour. And let me tell you, there's not too many of them.
Compared to 2 whole weeks.
Right. Here's the deal. This hour, somebody's going to win $100. So why not you? All you got to do is download the Civic Media app if you don't have it. Go to one of the first 11 stations on the app. Click it. You'll see a little icon that says text, and then text the following word to be eligible to win $100. Warm. The word is warm. WARM as in Mary. It's starting to warm up. The word is warm. WARM as in Mary. Text carefully on the Civic Media app. The computer will randomly select at 2 o'clock one person from this hour to win $100. Everybody is eligible then for our grand prize of the Verlo mattress set. Who couldn't use a new mattress set? We're not just talking about one of these El Cheapos. We're talking about a whole mattress set and everything that goes with it. Going to be fantastic. All right, let's get back to the phone lines. Finish this up here, talking about this text that went out over the app called Signal. A group text of high-level government officials in the Trump administration. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth sent it out, included, he claims by accident, a journalist at The Atlantic. It's been exposed. The Trump administration has confirmed it is authentic and true. And to earlier callers, Bruce and Joe pointed out, this potentially goes much deeper to actually disseminating U.S. military information to the Kremlin and Putin. 855-752-4842. Dick in Madison on WMDX. Dick, thanks for being patient. What say you?
Well, Todd, here's the thing I have with it. Forgive me if I'm coming to this late. If somebody's already asked this.
Yeah.
Where in the hell is Trump in all this? You imagine what they'd be saying if this was still Joe Biden.
Oh, right.
And then you've got Vance saying this, that, and the other thing. And then we wind up the meeting with President Stephen Miller saying this is what we're going with?
Right. No, and
outrageous.
You're absolutely right, Dick. And I brought this up earlier, and L.A. Tom helped me remember a couple of the names here. Remember, we got Edward Snowden still, who is in prison, who's out there as a traitor to the country. Chelsea Manning, who got in a lot of trouble for just trying to do her job, and she's labeled a traitor and in jail. And here you have this sitting Secretary of Defense disclosing at the best inadvertently to a reporter, and at the worst potentially to Vladimir Putin himself, endangering the men and women of the military.
Well, I guess Trump must have been too busy ordering from McDonald's or something. Right. But this is just outrageous that he's not even privy to it. And then he said yesterday, "Oh, I don't know anything about it."
Right. Well, of course not. It didn't involve the ninth hole of the green.
Well, I'm sorry, but it likens back to what I said at the beginning. I'd like to know who the heck is in charge.
All right. You and me both. Thanks, Dick. I appreciate the call as always. 855-752-4842, Zommers.
Speaking of who's in charge, you know who we're not talking about because this is happening? Elon Musk.
Right.
Just keep that in mind.
Right. Good point. Go back to the Driftless area, listening on WRCE in Richland Center. Bev, thanks for your listenership. What have you got?
I stay on a MAGA site, Todd, so I can hear what's going on. And I posted yesterday that I was hearing about this Signal chat, and I asked them what they were hearing. The response I got back from these folks is, I know that didn't happen. It's common sense that they wouldn't do that. Therefore, there's nothing to investigate. That's what we're dealing with.
I think that's a great point, Bev. And you know better than anybody about the media culture out there. From what I'm seeing, the folks on Fox News are just playing this off as, well, this is actually a good thing. And no actual secrets got out there. It's just, I struggle to find a different word other than brainwashing.
And mind-boggling.
Yeah, and mind-boggling. No, you're absolutely right. Appreciate it, Bev. Thanks for your listenership and insight as always. And Bev brings up a great point, and I don't want to go too far down this road, but I'll just say this again. Recent stories I'm talking about last weekend, there are systems that track media, right? You've heard of the Nielsen ratings out there? According to the Nielsen ratings, Fox News is now not just winning and a larger viewership than everything else on cable, meaning CNN, MSNBC, go right down the list. Fox News, night to night, has more viewers than even broadcast television. CBS, NBC, ABC. When you have that sort of dominance in the media market, to Bev's point, and untruths at best, straight out lies at worst, are being put out there. And people who only watch or listen to that are like, well, there, see, it's not really true. It just makes sense this wouldn't happen. That's just, whatever, insert whatever derogatory word you want for people who disagree with them. But it's interesting because the Trump administration themselves have now said this is right, or this is true, that it happened.
But also not.
Confirm,
like when
right.
they're on Fox, they say no. Elsewhere, they say it did.
Well, we'll continue to track it, continue to talk about it. Remember, if you want, people say, what can I do, Todd? I feel helpless. I feel down. What can I do? Okay, maybe not about this exact topic, but here's something we can all do. We can engage. And by that, I mean there is a very important election coming up in less than a week now on Tuesday, April 1st. Yes, there is an election. Wisconsinites will elect a new Supreme Court justice. They'll also elect a new Department of Public Instruction superintendent. There is a referendum on the ballot, and there are local races. Men and women have died to give each of us as Americans the opportunity and the right to have our vote count. If you don't care enough about yourself, at least honor those who gave their lives so we have this right and opportunity. Go vote, be a voter. Go to myvote.wi.gov if you need to check where your polling place is to register. myvote.wi.gov. Know where your polling place is. Have a plan to be a voter. You can early vote right now. And then election day, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., you'll feel better if you go vote. Trust me. You'll feel better. Be a voter. 855-752-4842 if you want to give us a call. Make it 43 minutes past the hour. Time once again for What's Worse. Let's go, Zombie.
Yes, all right. Yes, all right. Then, of course, the choice is yours. You can get with this or you can get with that.
Time now to play What's Worse. You can win $100 this hour if you text us right now in our Break into Spring contest. Text the word WARM, W-A-R-M.
Which, by the way, is statewide.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. The lawyers on the top floor get very nervous if we don't mention that. It is a statewide contest. So you can win something in that. Right now, text the word WARM. You have until the top of the hour. Somebody's going to win $100, W-A-R-M. Text it right now on the Civic Media app. But here now is just your chance to have your voice heard, which, not $100, but a lot of fun. Timely indeed, as Mike Lucas likes to say, because as we get out and about as the weather gets nicer, you're going to more places, maybe to eat out, maybe have services, and inevitably there is a tip jar now on the counter for everything. Also, and here's the problem. Some of these things are real. Some of them are fake. GoFundMe. People down on their luck. Let's say a family has a fire that destroys their home. Lots of legitimate reasons. And they set up a GoFundMe page that people could go and give a donation to. And that's great. But now it seems that, like everything else that's good, people are taking advantage of it and making bogus GoFundMe pages. So, the question now today for you our listening and viewing audience. What's worse, tip jars or GoFundMe? Tip jars or GoFundMe? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. I'm laughing because I really enjoy the graphic that CP has up today. The graphic is of a jar with money, dollar bills in it, with a sign that says, "We've got cats to feed and lots of student debt."
And the GoFundMe has a campaign that was asking for $5,000 and has earned over $98,000 so far, and is still going. Was still going at the time.
I want to know what that GoFundMe is.
Like, I have to look into that.
What were they trying? I mean, it was a good job by it, obviously. What's worse, tip jars or GoFundMe? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. What's worse, tip jars or GoFundMe? And look, as somebody who worked in the service industry a long time at different jobs, I'm all for giving people a tip if they're actually doing something. But like I've gone to certain things that basically is automated, and they
still have the option.
Right. It's like, wait a minute, you didn't really do anything.
Or there's this one coffee shop and ice cream place in Manitowoc that notoriously has multiple cameras facing the tip jar because the tip jar only goes to the people who own the place.
No.
And if employees get caught, or if a customer hands something directly to an employee, they will be immediately fired.
Get out.
It's notorious.
That should be illegal.
I'll name and shame. PK Beans and Cream in Manitowoc.
Well, wow. Zombers naming names on the
Allegedly.
show. 855-752-4842. Bob, listening to Waukesha on WAUK, tip jars or GoFundMe? What's worse? Bob, are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's worse, Bob? Tip jars or GoFundMe?
I think GoFundMe.
Any particular reason you say that?
Well, you put a tip jar if you've been served. You know, if you've been served and the service was good, you leave a tip. And you can put it in a tip jar. Can I speak about this thing with Hegseth?
Sure, go ahead quick.
You know, has any Republican come out and said that this is terrible, this is wrong, they need to be fired?
I haven't seen a major one yet. No.
If a Democrat, if the Biden administration would have done this, the Republicans' hair would have been on fire.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Come on in.
I appreciate it. You got company. I'll let you go. Thanks a lot, Bob. I appreciate it. That was great. What's worse, tip jars or GoFundMe? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. We go to Len in Madison, listening on WMDX. Len, tip jars or GoFundMe? What's worse? Len? Len is there? Len, are you there? Len is giving to a GoFundMe page right now. We'll check back in with him in a minute. Stick around and text WARM, the word WARM, W-A-R-M, right now to win $100 on the Civic Media app. Come on back. We'll wrap it up right here on the Todd Allbaugh Show across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network.
I don't know what happened there.
Len is there. Len is not there.
But with the other caller, on their app, the text option is just gone. Like it has call, voice note, whatever website. So I'm going to tell the app team about that.
Wow.
I said you should probably
That's weird.
see if there's an update. And then I just gave him the 855 number because you can text that.
Right.
iSurvey is proven to slow GA progression. Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Oh my gosh. Wisconsin hired a new women's basketball coach that looks mediocre at best.
We're going out of
Just,
Excellent.
just cut the program.
Hotel K pet sitting. You know.
If you're not going to get somebody good, just get rid of the program.
Hotel K pet
If you're not going to try.
They're
Yeah.
dependable. They feed our cats, put fresh water out, and even scoop the litter box. And they send daily messages with pictures giving us peace of mind while we're away.
For house sitting, cat sitting, and dog walks, it's Hotel K Pet Sitting. Reserve now at freebellyrubs.com. freebellyrubs.com.
At Civic Media, we encourage active political engagement and remind listeners to think critically about political advertisements
30 seconds.
you may hear during this critical election.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network, where it is 9 before the hour of 2 o'clock. At the top of the hour, pardon me, little ABC and CBS news for you, depending upon which of the great Civic Media stations you listen to across Wisconsin. And then a sports update with our friend Mike Clemens. The draft moving closer and closer to being in Green Bay. Bucks in action as well. Weather update for you from our great meteorology team. And then hang on to your hats and hallelujahs. John and Gordy are going to do it to you. It is John and Gordy after dark.
Ooh.
Well, at least John and Gordy afternoon.
Which is a lot darker than
Dude,
normal.
And for them, that is dark because here's the deal. John and Gordy, they're the great morning team here at WMDX in Madison. And Maggie Dawn is on vacation this week. And so these guys, like, you know, they didn't need this. They're usually in the afternoon. They're getting massages and being fed grapes. That's their afternoon. But no, they just like, you know what they're like? It's like in the women's ice hockey championship on Sunday when Mark Johnson said, "Who wants it? Who wants it?"
And Kirsten Sims jumped up.
And
said, "I
Kirsten
want it."
Sims
It's just
jumped
like
up.
that.
It's just like that. And John and Gordy's, we want it.
They were chomping at the bit.
We want it. We're ready to go. What a duo. And so now we, the listening audience, have the absolute pleasure of hearing 2 hours extra of the John and Gordy show for the rest of this week, every afternoon from 2 until 4. So stick around. That's why I'm quickly, Gordy's looking in here going, you know, tapping his watch saying, "Come on, Toddy, get your stuff together." Because we got to get out of here like that because John and Gordy got to slip in to this beautiful table now. So stick around, John and Gordy, all afternoon from 2 until 4. Then Dom Selvia from 4 until 6. Our friend Pete Schwaba with Nightlight at 6 o'clock. Another great lineup. We should finish this up, Zombers. What's worse today, tip jars or GoFundMe? What if you want to call in? Still a couple minutes left. 855-752-4842. Zombers, tip jars, GoFundMe. What's worse?
For me, tip jars are definitely worse. So my reasoning for that, both can be used for good and used for evil. I think GoFundMe has a higher ceiling. It offers chances for people to come together and support the community or keep businesses they like afloat. I think a lot of good can be done with it. Tip jars, America needs to stop tipping. We need to get with the rest of the world and, just pay people what they should be paid for their job. And so I think tip jars are worse.
Yeah, I think because it's more awkward, I think, with the tip jar. GoFundMe, and you could just, the privacy of your home, nobody's looking at you. Where a tip jar, for me, as someone who worked in the service industry, I understand that a lot of people don't realize this. The minimum wage for a server in Wisconsin, if there's a sit-down restaurant, is $2.75.
Yeah, it's a sub-minimum wage.
Right. And so nobody can live on that. So a server, they earn their living on tips, and that's critically important. Then there are other jobs where people are making whatever, $15, $16, $17 an hour. Maybe not 17, but depends. And there's a tip jar. And again, I will tip for good service. I am not afraid to really tip well.
Me either.
But I think there's the expectation that you just automatically should tip because the tip jar is there. And some people just don't give. I won't. I was at a restaurant last week. I don't go out a whole lot anymore. But there's a restaurant on the square in Madison. And I went in there. It was not that busy. It was late afternoon. Sit down. They put me at the bar. And the guy was just kind of nonchalant about it. And then at the end of the meal, he said, so we think of dessert? And I'm like, no. I mean, instead of saying, so I hope you save room. We have a really great tiramisu. It's made in-house. It includes, instead of selling it to me or enticing me, it's like, yeah, you think of dessert?
Might not have had a good day or who knows.
I mean, it's just,
but still.
I think that tipping should be a reflection of the service you got. And as someone who was a server, who has been a bartender, who has been a barista, I feel it's on me to earn that tip and to give really great customer service. So I would say tip jars are worse for that reason. So there you go.
I think we have a consensus.
I have a consensus. Don't forget, you have 3 more minutes to text the word WARM, WARM. Do it right now on the Civic Media app. Go to the Civic Media app, choose one of the first 11 stations where it says text, click that, and text the word WARM, WARM, right now, because somebody at 2 o'clock is going to win $100 from those entries, and everybody gets entered in for the grand prize of a Verlo mattress. WARM, WARM, text it right now. Breaking news at this hour before we leave you, courtesy of Channel 3000 here in Madison, the CBS affiliate, WISC. Wisconsin women's basketball hires Robin Pigeton, Pingeton, Pigeton, as their new coach. Wisconsin women's basketball has selected a new coach to lead the basketball program, the women's side. Robert Pigeton previously served as head coach at Missouri for 15 seasons. She left Missouri with a 250 and 218 overall record. Now, that doesn't seem too hot to me. Barely over 50, a 50-50 win record. The Tigers appeared in multiple NCAA tournaments with Cunningham, but haven't qualified for I don't know why it says Cunningham, maybe that's her married name, but have not qualified for the tournament since she left the school after the 2018-19 season. So she's hoping to turn around the down-and-out Wisconsin women's program who haven't made the tournament since 2010. She says, quote, I'm excited to get to Madison to get to work, unquote. I hope it works out. But if the Badgers don't want to really commit to women's basketball, then get rid of it. Don't be mediocre about it. Anyway, whatever you're fighting for, whatever you believe in, do not give up. Keep banging your drums. Stay tuned. John and Gordy are in for Maggie next. Stay right here. We'll see you tomorrow on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Keep banging on your drum, and they will hear you.
Goodbye, everybody.